Hello everyone and welcome to my channel, Advice to Think Twice. My name is Monica and I am here today to do a short review on the After Tarot deck by Scarabeo. This is a deck that I've been working with for a little bit now, and I bought it first of all because I found it very intriguing, very interesting, and it really is a very interesting deck. So I'm just going to take you through some of my ideas, what's going on with the cards, and then maybe talk about some differences between these cards, the traditional cards, and so on and so forth. So let's just get started. I really enjoy the deck, and I hope that you enjoy it as well, and I hope that this review gives you more information, or the information you're looking for if you're interested in what this deck is about. So this is the box that the cards come in. So the After Tarot, you've got the Scarabeo symbol there. You've got the sides. This is actually the Ace of Swords here. This is the Chariot. After Tarot, Ace of Cups there. And this is just information. Okay, these are the languages that they do when it comes to the booklet and so on. And this is the top. So it says After Tarot, artwork by Julia F. Masalia, and the publisher is Scarabeo. So with this box, you get the cards in this little booklet, and the booklet is kind of thick, but it's only because it's got 4 different languages or 5 different languages that describe the cards. You've got English, you've got Italian, Spanish, French, and German. And so it talks a little bit about the concept, but very briefly, the concept of the cards. Sorry, over there, this first part. And then it just goes into describing the cards, the major arcanas, and then through the minor arcanas. And then we have the cards. I'm gonna read to you what it says. Let's see, the Magician. So we have first card here, and I'm gonna flip the cards so that you can see all the cards. So we have the Magician here, and as opposed to the traditional Magician, which I have here, in the traditional card, the traditional portrayal of the card, all the tools are on the table, and then here you've got all the tools up in the air. Now the whole concept of this deck is portraying the traditional images in the tarot that you can see in most decks just a few seconds or a few minutes into the future. And it's a pretty cool concept. This way it kind of teaches the reader, or it helps them practice, if you will, to think ahead, to think backwards, to have a more kind of a bigger picture type of view when they read, in terms of, okay, so this is what the card is talking about, this is the traditional meaning of the card, okay, but then when you look at these cards, it takes your mind further into the future. So what happens next? What could happen next after that? And when you're looking at these cards, you're seeing the image in the cards, but then you have to look back and look at the traditional image of that card and what the traditional meaning is, and kind of come up with different connections as well. For that reason, I would say that it's a really good deck to have, but I would not start with it personally, just because for me it's easier and it makes more sense to have the traditional view under control, so to speak, or at least have a good idea, a good concept of the traditional meanings of the card and the traditional portrayals of the cards, and then you can start to play with time frame. You can start to play with going back and forth in time in your own mind when it comes to these cards, but they're definitely a good deck to own, a good deck to work with. So let me just read you from the book in the author's own words. So he says, the concept of the deck is at the same time simple and wonderful. Each arcana is portrayed a few seconds or minutes after the moment we're used to, as it is found in almost all traditional tarot. And he also says that in the after tarot, time becomes as much as important as what is illustrated on the arcana. It is not just to see a scene and let our intuition find the meaning, but it is made to encourage the reader to think forward and backward in time and empower their perception and sensibility. So it's a really cool deck to own, okay, and to work with, absolutely. So let's look at the Magician. So the traditional meanings, look at what you have, use the tools you have. You already have the tools you need. Get creative, have the confidence to come up with a strategy to move on with your goals. It's also a very good illustration of manifestation, which again is telling you you have everything you need. You can start working. You don't have to come up with excuses in terms of, oh, I don't have that or I don't have that. The Magician tells you you have everything you need to accomplish your goal. Take a second look at what you have to work with, and then come up with ideas and plans on how you can get what you think you're lacking. And in this version, it's kind of the next step. It's 5 seconds later where we found our approach, or we know what we want to do. And so with these being up in the air, for me that means things have already started. Manifestation, it's starting. Okay, we're starting to see things, we're starting to create things, we're starting to use the tools we have after we have reviewed what tools we have. And so with this, it says the Magician is the master of physical world. He channels cosmic energy from above and uses it to bend and shape reality in accordance with his will. The Magician has raised the power of earth, air, fire, and water. A wand, cup, sword, and pentacle spin through time and space in a cosmic dance, like planets orbiting around the sun. So, again, it's telling us that things have started. We're starting to use what we have. We're starting to come up with strategies. We're starting to manifest. We're starting to create. And so, that's the main concept of this deck. And so now I'm going to take you through a few cards to explain the differences. I'm going to put them this way so that you can have them to look at. And so we're going to have the traditional view and then the 5 seconds later view, so that you can see what the author is going for in terms of how they're encouraging us to use our creativity and insight to think ahead and backwards into the future when it comes to the images that we see and the traditional meanings of the cards. So we've explained the Magician. Okay, this is your starting point. This is 5 seconds later. Manifestation has started. We're applying what we came up with in terms of strategy, in terms of plan. We're starting to do things as opposed to looking at the resources we have. Okay? With the Magician, with any card, it doesn't change the meaning of the card. Unless you want to read them as oracle cards, that's different. But they're tarot cards. It doesn't change the meaning of the Magician. It just gives you an added perspective. The Magician still means the same. This is just telling you, kind of think ahead, play around with the concepts. Where would this take you? What would come next? That sort of thing. And if you're reading with these cards, you're thinking back to, okay, what's the traditional portrayal? What's the traditional meaning of this card? How do I get from that to here? And it really, really helps you expand your knowledge and really kind of polish your skills in terms of intuition, in terms of thinking ahead, creating scenarios, possibilities, that sort of thing. It's a very, very expansive deck, I want to say. So that's the Magician. Then we have the Fool. These cards are not in order. I've just set a few of them up in the same order in these two decks just to illustrate some, differences. And then I'm going to show you all the cards. Then we have the Fool. This is our starting point, the traditional view, with the Fool about to take that leap of faith into the unknown and take on a brand new path, start pursuing his dreams or her dreams. And then we have the After Tarot version 5 seconds later, and we can see the Fool kind of hanging from the cliff. So he's taken that step forward, and now he's hanging from the cliff. Again, this does not change the meaning of the Fool card. Still tells us to take a leap of faith. It tells us to be spontaneous, to get up and go, to be free, and so on, to pursue our dreams, and so on. However, the author just wants to focus on one possibility that could happen 5 seconds later after the Fool takes that leap of faith. And this tells us, okay, he took a leap of faith and now he's hanging from the cliff. So something could have gone wrong. And of course you have the foolish side of the Fool. Don't be foolish. Yes, take a leap of faith, but don't be foolish. And so this can either tell us, has he been foolish? Or we can just tell who we're reading for. Just a caution or a reminder, don't be foolish. But it is also showing us, what is he doing? He's hanging from the cliff, and yet he's still holding on to the white rose. So he's still focusing on that new beginning. He's still focusing on that dream that he's trying to manifest. And he's adapting to circumstances. He's still not panicking. He's not afraid. He is present in the moment, enjoying it for what it is, taking it for what it is, and then he's going to figure out how he's going to move on from there. So if you see, it kind of gives you different perspectives, gives you different points of view of how you can look at that card. Because you have a Fool, okay, and that's the only thing that you see. He's about to take a step off of the cliff. And of course you think, well, he can fly or he can fall. He can take that leap of faith and it takes him someplace good, or he can just be foolish, in which case he would fall off the cliff. So you have those things going in your mind anyway. But with this card, it's kind of guiding us. Okay, it's encouraging us, really. Think ahead. What could happen next? And with this situation of what can happen next, what does it tell you? What does it add to the meaning of the card? Again, it's not changing the meaning of the traditional cards, the traditional views, in any way. It just adds different points of view, additional perspectives. And again, this way, it helps us develop, thinking ahead into the future, kind of playing with time a little bit. If you do this, that could happen, and if you do that, that could happen, that sort of thing. Then we have the Six of Pentacles. So this is the traditional view. This is our starting point. With the Six of Pentacles, you have this generous figure helping those who are less fortunate. Okay, so they're providing them with support, financial support in this portrayal. But of course, we know it can mean any sort of support. It can be financial, yes. It can be with advice. It can be with information, place to stay, anything really. And it can talk about, a need to look for the balance. It can ask us to, ask for support if you need it. They will be there for you, and so on and so forth. And this is the after tarot, and what happens next. Okay, these figures that were down on the ground, it was just two people, and he's just being generous. What happens next? It kind of turns into something that we could see this as something that is being taken for granted. We could see this as, okay, well, now everyone's coming to this person for help, and this person, as opposed to doing something they chose to do, doing something that they thought would be helpful and generous, is now expected to just sit there and just give people money as they pass by. That would be one way of looking at it. And again, it's just, doesn't change the meaning of the card. It's just asking us to think ahead. Okay, so this is the situation. What could happen next? What could come next? And it's also kind of bringing extra layers to the interpretation. It kind of makes us think, okay, so this person is helping us and is not expecting anything in return. What do we do with this person's help? And is it going to be help, or is it going to turn into enabling? So it just adds different layers to the interpretation. And that's, again, it's why I personally would not recommend to start studying tarot with this deck. You kind of have to have a working knowledge of the traditional view, of the traditional meanings and traditional portrayals to really be able to work well with it. Okay? But I would definitely recommend having it in your collection and working with it. It's really going to add a lot to how you see tarot, how you interpret, and so on and so forth. The Ten of Wands. So starting point, this person is overwhelmed. They're carrying too much, trying to hold on to too much, expected to do too many things, trying to hold on to all of these 10 wands, and they've kind of lost their way because now they're not able to see where they're going. And it's a card that talks about getting to a point where you're exhausted because you're doing too much, or you're not working efficiently, let's say. Maybe you're trying to hold on to things that are not helping you. Maybe you're doing things for everyone else and you're not doing enough for yourself, and you're working yourself sick to just help everyone else or do what you're expected to, and so on and so forth. And this is the after tarot 5 seconds later with the 10 of Wands. This is what with the 10 of Wands, we're always asked to review what we're working on, review what we're carrying with us, and if possible, prioritize, pick one, delegate, ask other people to help you, or give people back their own work and their own responsibilities, because you have your own things to take care of. And so I feel like that's what is portrayed in the after tarot version, because now he's just holding on to the one wand. So he's reached the breaking point, he's dropped all those wands, so a bit of a breaking point, or whatever you want to translate that into real world circumstances or possible situations. And now he's just holding on to the one wand. So he is doing the sorting through, he is doing the prioritizing, and now he gets to rest, to kind of catch his breath, because he's exhausted, before he can just pick up the one wand and really move on with that. And again, this does not change the meaning of the 10 of Wands. I'm going to be repeating myself probably, but it does not change the meaning of the 10 of Wands. It's just telling us, okay, what are you guided to do when you see this portrayal, when you see this card? What is the advice? What is the guidance? Where could it take you, good or bad? Because this could mean, yes, he's chosen a wand, or it could mean now he can't walk and he needs this wand to support himself, but he still can't get up off that rock. So again, it's just adding layers to the interpretation. The 9 of Wands. With the 9 of Wands, you have the starting point, you're exhausted, you're ready to give up, you're asked to hold your ground, you're asked not to give up because the worst is behind you. You just kind of have to glide through, hold your ground, things are going to be over soon. It's going to get easier. And then in the after tarot version, you have someone joining this wounded person, this person that has been through a lot. They're bruised and battered and exhausted and drained, and they're losing hope. And so what happens if you hang in there? Well, this is one option. Someone comes in to help you. Someone comes in to lessen the burden. Someone comes in to take a stand with you. So it could just be one possibility in terms of you're asked to hang in there because what could happen if you hang in there? And so this is just an example. Someone's going to help you. Someone's going to come in and work with you. Someone has your back. Someone has your best interest at heart. They're really going to help you. It can also be, it's going to be the end of you trying to struggle through things, because now things are going to get easier. You can just kind of pass that burden or that situation or that responsibility, whatever it is, to someone else, or share it with someone else. So again, it does not change the meaning of the 9 of Wands, but it just adds layers to the interpretation. 3 of Swords, starting point, and of course, you don't need a lot of study to figure out what this means. Broken heart, heart pain, heartache, being stabbed in the back, being betrayed, okay? And 5 seconds later, in the after tarot, they're focusing on the healing energy of the 3 of Swords. So first of all, it says, yes, this is temporary. It's not going to last forever, because this is what happens a few seconds later. Okay, well, seconds, minutes, days, depends. But it kind of underlies the temporary nature of the 3 of Swords energy. And then you start to heal. Then you start to move forward. And so the 3 of Swords, it can represent emotional healing. It can represent overcoming heartache. It really depends where you have it in the reading, what position it is, and the spread, what cards it has around it, that sort of thing, and the question you're asking. But it can represent emotional healing. And so this is recovery. So this says, focus on the fact that it's temporary. Try not to let this destroy you. You will heal from it. Okay? So it's quite a nice portrayal. 10 of Swords, original, after tarot. So in the after tarot, this person who was on the ground, just done, now they're moving on to laying that person to rest. Okay, so it is again reinforcing the idea of an ending, and now you have peace. Of an ending, and now you can rest. Of an ending, and now you can release. Now you can move on to something different, to something new, to a new phase. Okay? Five of Cups. They kind of add on. Well, it really depends what you see in the cards, but for me, I see quite a lot more in the After Tarot. So you have the Five of Cups regular view, traditional view. Someone was focusing on these cups that were spilled. They're spilled, they can't do anything about them, and yet he's stuck there. And if he just turns around, he can see that there's something brand new and much better for him, waiting for him. Okay, and this is the Two of Cups. Alright, or I see it as a Two of Cups. And so with this card, it is encouraging us, shift your focus, change your perspective, focus on the blessings. Don't let this pain keep you stuck there, because you're going to lose yourself. In the Five of Cups, in the After Tarot, you can see this person is slightly turned, okay, but they're still facing the Three Cups on the ground. But now we have this person in the water who's drowning and calling out for help. So this adds to the interpretation in terms of, here we're just thinking about ourselves and what we are going through, and this adds to the interpretation in terms of, okay, well, while we're busy doing that, what about our responsibilities? What about the people that we are supposed to take care of? What about other things that we are responsible for? What's going to happen with them? So it kind of adds to the interpretation in terms of, look around, get a bigger picture of what's going on. Okay, so I thought that was kind of interesting, and an extra encouragement, or a stronger encouragement for us to, yes, you go through it and you experience the pain and the disappointment, but don't let it turn into something that imprisons you, because there may be people or situations or pets, responsibilities, and so on, who really could suffer because of that. So it's just an extra layer. The Empress. So we have traditional view of the Empress, beautiful, sitting pretty, talking about abundance, growth, Venus, love, money, expansion. And then the After Tarot, there's not that much of a difference apart from the fact that now she is raising her scepter, and there is a swan here who's had babies. So reinforcing the fertility aspect that the Empress represents. And for me, also talks about creation, but also results, commanding or being in command. So again, it's just reinforcing that the Empress is the counterpart of the Emperor, the ultimate authority figure. And so it kind of just reinforces the commanding energy of the Empress, but also the nurturing, loving, creation, creativity, expansion nature of the Empress. So again, it just adds to the interpretation. Nine of Pentacles, we have the traditional view, receiving news, or receiving news of our abundance, or receiving news of our results, or usually birds represent communication or messages. They can represent other things too, but just for the purpose of this review, we're going to say, news, and now things are coming to conclusion, things are coming to fruition for us with the Nine of Pentacles. And in the After Tarot, now the bird is gone, is flying away, and we actually turn around and we get to enjoy the fruits of our labor. So again, it just adds to the interpretation. Yes, this is our results, our abundance. What do we do with them? Okay, this could represent, sending news to other people or sharing our abundance. It could be that, it could be anything. This is just saying, enjoy what you've worked for. Take a moment, acknowledge and enjoy it, or spread it around, share the wealth to keep the flow of abundance going. So again, it's just adding layers. Six of Swords, this is you're in transit, you're moving on from a difficult thing to smoother waters and so on. And here you arrive at your destination, so it enforces the idea of starting a new phase, okay? Among other things. And let's just do like the Four of Cups, because I don't want this to be too long of a review. Traditional view, You know, bringing into question, are you grateful for what you have? Are you grateful for the opportunities presented to you? Do you even see the opportunities presented to you? Because again, this person is just focusing on the Three of Cups here. And these could be things that have not worked out, or things, or, you know, the times of tries he's had with certain situation, or, you know, just things that make him feel sad, disappointed, discontent. And yet he just focuses on those things, as opposed to seeing that there is divine intervention and a divine offer, divine opportunity being presented to him, just slightly out of his focus. So this is a card encouraging us to expand our perception, our perspective, really see the blessings that we have, be grateful for the blessings that we have. And the more we are grateful for the blessings that we currently have, and so we shift our mentality from a lack mentality to a gratitude mentality, the more we attract blessings and things to be grateful for, okay? And in the Four of Cups in the After Tarot, this person has taken that cup. What are they doing with it? They're kind of spilling it. So they're turning it into the Three of Cups. So I feel like this is just a reinforcement of, what is your mindset? What are you going to do with the opportunities? Okay, are you taking opportunities for granted and turning them into situations that you're just unhappy for because you want to keep yourself in this little pity party energy? What do you do with the opportunities? Do you even see them? If you see them, what do you do with them? What do you turn them into? Again, you know, bringing in the question of gratitude and mindset and that whole situation, among other things, of course. So again, it just adds to the interpretation, adds layers. Does not change the meaning of the card, adds layers to it. So we're just going to stop the comparisons there, because otherwise it's going to take forever. And let's just take you through the rest of the cards. You can pause the video if you want to, just to have a closer look at them. They're really, really beautiful, and they have lots of stories to say. So I definitely encourage everyone to purchase the deck, to use the deck, to, you know, come up with your own comparisons and your own differences between the traditional and then this deck, and what does it tell you, and what do you see in the cards, and so on and so forth. Gorgeous deck. Definitely encourage everyone to work with it. It's definitely going to add to your experience as a reader. So here we have the Eight of Pentacles, the High Priestess. And again, you can just pause the video and, you know, feel free to spot the difference between the traditional views and these views. The Queen of Swords. And the colors are really, really nice. They don't really stand out, because I feel maybe they didn't want to distract with the colors. They wanted the reader to focus on the symbols in the cards. I don't know, that could be a reason, but I really enjoy the colors. They're very, very, they blend in, they're soothing. So Ace of Pentacles, Two of Cups, the Judgment card, Temperance, the Tower, the Ace of Swords, Ace of Wands, Eight of Cups, the Sun, Page of Swords, the Hermit, Page of Cups, Eight of Wands, Knight of Wands, Six of Cups, Ten of Pentacles, Queen of Pentacles, Three of Pentacles, Four of Swords, Two of Pentacles, Three of Wands, Queen of Cups, Two of Swords, King of Cups, the World, the Moon, the Four of Pentacles is really interesting. It's not the Death card. The Devil, the Death card, Ten of Cups, Seven of Cups, the Lovers, the Five of Pentacles, the Justice card, the Knight of Swords, Wheel of Fortune, the Chariot, the Five of Swords, Strength card, Nine of Swords, Six of Wands, Seven of Wands, Knight of Pentacles, King of Pentacles, Eight of Swords, Seven of Swords, Seven of Pentacles, Nine of Cups, Two of Wands, which I think is really beautiful, the Hangman, Three of Cups, the Star, the Queen of Wands. It's kind of funny that the cat is about to chase the salamander. The Four of Wands, the King of Wands, the Knight of Cups, the Ace of Cups, Page of Wands, the Hierophant, the Emperor, the King of Swords, and the Page of Pentacles. And this is the back of the card. It's absolutely beautiful, very, very, very nicely done. And these are the cards. And what I also want to say is the booklet describing the cards is useful, definitely. I've seen booklets that not only maybe are not so helpful, but they can actually create added confusion. So, but this booklet is definitely helpful. And so it's just a gorgeous deck. I hope you've enjoyed the review. If you're new to tarot and you're wondering about the size of the cards, it's the same size, okay, as a traditional regular tarot card, and in combination, well, in comparison, not combination, with a playing card, it is, let's use it that way, maybe that's gonna look better. It's slightly wider, okay, slightly wider, and definitely longer. So I hope that you've enjoyed this review. I hope that it's informational mostly. Gives you a look at this beautiful deck. Very, very interesting, different deck. If you have any questions, let me know. You can leave them in the description box below, or sorry, not the description, the comment box, comment bar. And I'll try to get to him as quickly and accurately as I can. But it's just to sum up, it's a beautiful deck, wonderful to work with, really helps you grow as a reader, helps you develop your own intuition, helps you develop expanding your mind really to look ahead and backwards in time, come up with ideas and scenarios and possibilities, that sort of thing. So it definitely is a deck that I recommend, as well as being very, very beautiful. So I'm going to leave it at that. And I hope you've enjoyed the review. I hope you find it helpful. Definitely recommend the deck and have fun with it and see what ideas and insight it gives you. So enjoy it. Thank you for joining me. Have a wonderful day, a wonderful time ahead, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.